If you want to scale your coaching business in 2026 using paid ads, then you're going to want to stick around for this video, because in this video, I'm doing a full masterclass on every step to take to set up, launch, and scale your ads to hit $30,000, $50,000, and even $100,000 per month in 2026. This is the exact process we ourselves have used to hit consistent 100K months, and have used with our clients like Brad to hit over $140,000 per month by using paid advertising. We're going to go over step-by-step details for how to set up your ads, how to test them and find winners, and then how to scale those winners and your ad spend to make your ads as operationally effective as possible. And like I said, I'm holding nothing back in this video. This is literally everything I teach on ads. So take out a pen, a notepad, follow along, pause this video if you want to build it alongside with us, and let's get ready to launch your ads for 2026. Okay, so let's talk about running your first campaign. This is going to be the first page you land on. It might look different to you, but it's going to be your dashboard page. So over on the left here, we're going to go into campaigns. This is your ads manager. I would go into campaigns, and then I would create a tab for this on your web browser. So you can always save this and come back to it. Your campaigns will look like this, except they won't have a campaign running. This will be empty. I want to walk you through what this page is and how to navigate it before we build anything. So this is your campaigns, ad sets, and ads. Facebook houses data in 3 levels. The campaign is what you're trying to do: generate leads, drive people to your website, create engagement through messages. Ad sets are who we're trying to get, right? This is the targeting. So this is where you can target cold audiences to get new people in. This is where you can retarget people who've engaged with you to show more of the people who've already seen your ads, more of them, and more social proof. Essentially, this is where we look at all of Facebook as a whole. There's about 180 million people online at any one time in the US. And we start to divvy that up and say, okay, who do we want these ads to go to? And then the last one here is ads. This is where you put the creatives in for the ads and the messaging and the copy and the templates that allow you to automate everything. So when you're clicking around in here, pay attention to, on the top level here, what is selected. That's going to help you, realize, like, if you open this up, you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, look at all my campaigns. These aren't campaigns. You're in your ad set level. And so you can click back through here to go from your ads level to your ad set level to your campaign level. And then in here, you're going to have these tags once you create one, which we'll cover in the next video. Inside of these tags, you're going to be able to either rename. You could go into it, edit it. You could duplicate it. This comes in later when we talk about actually building these out. You can see the charts, and then this is a beta. This might not be on your ads manager yet, but this allows me to analyze it with AI. And so clicking on this will open up the same page as the builder, which is what we're going to build in this next video. All right, what's up? So let's talk about building a campaign now. Now that we're in here, how do you actually create one of these? So you're gonna make sure you're on campaigns, and we're gonna click on create. Now this opens up this little panel here, and I'm gonna explain these to you. These are the different objectives you can select for a campaign. It's important you select the right one because not all of them have the same tools and functionalities. For example, sales and leads campaign, these can send people directly to your website. You can add in software that is on your website that sends that back to Facebook as data. So let's say that you had a site and you were selling a shaker cup. You could post an ad about it. Someone could click on that link, go to your site, and then they could click on the product, and they could add it to the cart, and they could purchase it. You can store all that data and send it back to Facebook and say, hey, I want you to not only target more people like the guy who clicked on my ad. Well, in fact, I want you to actually target people who are like the guy who clicked on my ad and then added to cart and then purchased it. I want more purchasers. And so it helps you nail down your data more. Now, when it comes to the ads we're going to be running, we're not going to be using these. We're going to use an engagement ad because this is going to allow us to get messages. You can see right here, good for, if we select it, Messenger, Instagram, WhatsApp. We want this because until you're running a lot of dollars in ad spend, it's really hard to get calls booked from a funnel where there's not human interaction. So if you're doing like a leads campaign, it's just gonna be an application form, and then they go to your website. For a sales campaign, you're just sending people directly to your website. We don't get to talk to them at all. And in the one-on-one coaching game, that's really how you're gonna book most of your calls, is by having a back and forth with a setter or you with these leads. So that's why we pick an engagement campaign. But these are the different types of campaigns. Obviously, traffic goes right for link clicks. Leads is for instant forms. This also works well sometimes, but we're going to use engagement. And then sales is like conversions if you have like a physical product that you're trying to get people through. So these are the different buckets. When you're choosing these, all you have to do is choose engagement for most of the campaigns we'll run. And then when up here, you're always going to want to be an auction. We don't worry about reservation. And then we'll go into creating an ad set in our next video. Okay, so now that I've showed you where to click on to create the campaign, all that's left to do is click continue here. you're going to use manual engagement settings because we want to do some targeting on our own. And this will open up this page here. And let me explain to you what's going on. These are those same campaign ad set and ad levels. Now we're just editing the details. So they house these on this side and they're represented here. They're also represented up here. And one of the easy things you can do to keep this organized is really clear naming here. So as you can see right now, we're on the campaign level because both these are highlighted. So this is our campaign and our campaign name. So when we're creating this, we want to name this something. We're going to call this prospecting. And then I put a little dash and then CBO. I'll explain what that means in a second. Prospecting CBO simply means we're using campaign budget optimization. Now there's another one called ABO, and if you ever hear this, these are terms that marketers use to describe where the budget for our ads are housed. If we house them at the CBO level, the campaign level, that means that if you put $100 here, maybe we have 4 different ad sets and we have 4 ads in each of those ad sets, all of the money will be taken from the campaign level and spread evenly through there. Or Facebook might put more towards one that's working and less towards one that's not. But this allows us to house it at the campaign level, and then it will get shared through. If we duplicate these, if we just do a quick duplicate, you can see how now we have a campaign and we have one ad set and an ad there and another ad set and an ad here. When we do a CBO, campaign budget optimization, this gives money to all of these. If you did an ABO, it would be at this level, and then that $100, it would only go to this ad instead of being split between this ad and this ad because there's 2 different sets. So that's what that means. And that's where you would set it right here. You'd set it as daily budget, not lifetime budget, daily budget, and you would put your ad, the amount you want to spend for this campaign right here. If you're brand new, you're probably only going to be running 1 prospecting campaign and 1 retargeting campaign. And so we will probably put the majority of your budget. If you had $100 today to spend, you'd probably put like 90 here and then 10 in the retargeting. Inside of here, your bid strategy will always be highest volume. You don't need to edit this. They're going to give you a couple different things here. These are more advanced things. You just want to go for highest volume in the beginning. We're not going to do any A/B testing. That would be like testing this versus another setup of this campaign to see which one worked best. We're not going to do that. And there's no special ad categories. This is like if you're advertising during the political season and you're running ads for a political campaign, you'd have to say that here. So this is all good. Now we're going to move on to the ad set level by just clicking over here. That's the next video. Okay, let's take this down to the ad set level now. There are 3 ways you can go from your campaign level to your ad set level. You can see here we're on the campaign level. If you're ever confused, like scroll up, you'll be able to see campaign name or ad set name. You can also see on the left-hand side, we're in the campaign level here. We're also in it here. So if you want to go to the ad set level, you can click ad set right here. You can come over here and you can go to the ad set level here. Or if you're building, you can also just click next. With any of this, if you ever want to just exit out of this, you can click on this red X. You don't have to save anything in Ads Manager. This will be saved. And as you can see up here, it will be in draft. So until we publish everything, this will just be a draft. It's not going out live. Even if you add your ads into it and you set your targeting, until you publish this, it won't go out live. So you won't have to worry about it spending. And you can at any time just click out of here. You're going to come back to this page and you can see now this new one's in here, but it'll be in draft with no spend. And if you ever want to come back in and edit it, clicking on this will just take you to the next level. If you want to edit it, you come in, you click edit, and boom, we're back in this screen. So that's kind of how you navigate this. So let's click on next and go to the ad set level. Here, you can see now we're at the ad set level. Same thing. First thing we're going to do here is we're going to name this. So let's say that we are uploading a new pack. We're going to call this Broad Pack 1, and today's date is the 16th. So we're going to go 11. You can do a dash or an underscore. I'm going to do a dash 1116. So what this tells me is that this is going to be a new pack of creatives. I like to put creatives out, or I like to put new creatives out in new packs, and we'll explain this more when we go to actually build one of these, but this is just simply how I name it. Now you could name these differently, but the reasoning behind this is I want to know what I'm posting, what number it is, and then what the date was. I put new packs out every week, so I might have a broad pack 5 that just went out, and this is my 5th week running this campaign, and that's my 5th batch of new creatives that I put out there. Creatives meaning the ads themselves. So we'll cover that a little bit more as we go on. But let's go through this step by step. Conversions, this is where are things going to take place. So we're going to be running mostly message campaigns. So you always want this to be message destinations. And then here, This is going to be your Facebook page that's linked to this business manager. We don't need to be getting messengers. I usually tick this off. I usually do manual destinations, and then I untick Facebook Messenger. I just want everything coming through my Instagram channel. I don't want stuff going to my Messenger because I don't have my automation set up from there. Next, for the performance goal, we are going to maximize number of conversions. Also, a good thing to point out, if this is not connected yet, click connect account and just follow the prompts, and it'll have you connect your Instagram account to this ads manager page so that you can run from this. So the first time you do it, you might have to connect account, just follow the prompts. Down here, performance goal is always going to be maximize number of conversations. You can see there's some different options here. We're not trying to maximize for anything but number of conversations, so we have more leads to talk to. We're not going to apply any rule sets. This gets a little bit more complicated. We'll cover that later. And then under show more options here, there's nothing. Down here in budget and schedule, if you were on the ABO, like we talked about last time, ad set budget, you'd be putting in your spend here, but we're in a CBO here where we have the budget at the campaign level, so we don't have to touch anything here. We're not going to put any spending limits on this. That's an advanced topic we'll touch on later. And then inside of budgeting schedule, we're not going to add anything here, so you can just hide that. Next, we're going to go to audience controls. Audience controls is where we make some adjustments for some hard-coded stuff in your targeting. So right now you can see we got this very large estimated size. If we start editing some things in here, like taking our minimum age up a little bit more, I usually recommend trying to go for post-college graduates, so sticking from this 23 to 25 range if you're doing a high-ticket item. This will immediately start to affect your audience. I like to have my location as the United States. You can just click on edit here. You can select US. And then excluding existing audiences, we won't do anything here right now, but eventually in some of our ad sets that we create in the masterclass, we'll be using this to exclude things like you don't want to be sending fresh ads to your customer list, people who are already in your program. So you'll create a list and you'll upload it here and be like, don't show my ads to these people. One, we don't want to annoy them. And two, you're paying money for those ads. And so you don't want it going to people who've already paid you unless you're selling them something new. So if you're not selling them something new, we don't use that. And then languages, what I like to do here is just put in US and suggest English US. This just limits it to English speaking individuals, helps us get this off of any pages that wouldn't be speaking our native tongue. In Advanced Advantage Plus Audience, you can switch to original audience options, or you can add in suggestions here. This is where we're going to be doing a lot of our targeting. This is going to be a video all to itself. Same thing here with placements. There will be times where we just use all the placements. There'll be other times where we click into this and we do very specific placements, and that will be another video all to itself. But this is how you would set up your ad set. Once this is all good and it's named, you can save this, and then we can move on to the ad level. All right, before we take the jump to ads, we're going to talk about the Advantage Plus audience real quick and placements since they're top of mind over right here. So one thing that you can do here and that we'll do is add a suggested audience. These are going to be custom audiences and some other parameters you can add here, including interest targeting. Now, these are all things we will be utilizing when we build out our funnel, our ads funnel. When it comes to custom audiences, I'm going to show you really quickly how you would create one of these. I think it's easiest to create them from here versus going over into this sidebar and going to Events Manager or into your settings and finding them there. So to create a custom audience, you click Create New, Custom Audience. A lookalike audience is what you're going to create after you create a custom audience. And so let me explain these very quickly. A custom audience is saying, hey, I have this source of data. For most of you, it'll be your Instagram accounts. And you're using that as the source of data, and you're cutting it down to a small piece of that you're wanting to target. So let's say you want to target people who messaged you in the last 60 days because you've been getting a lot more messages from a lot more people about coaching, and you're like, I want more people who look like this. We will create a custom audience, and that audience will include all the people who visited your data source, your Instagram account, and messaged you in the last 60 days. Cool. Now that you have that, it's a very finite amount of people. Right? It's not very many people in that. So that's really good for a base, but then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make a lookalike audience from that says, okay, to a certain percentage degree, I would like to target accounts that are similar to my custom audiences. And this gives you a much broader scope of people who probably share similar interests or have expressed interest through their searches and similar things to the people who you have in your custom audience. And so this allows you to go a little bit broader. There are times to use both of these. Lookalikes have become less important as time has gone on. We're going to rely more on custom audiences. So let's create one really quick. Inside of here, custom audience. I like to say Instagram accounts. Again, you can use lots of different stuff. You could have an entire video on this. For the sake of what you guys are running, let's just focus on Instagram account and hit next. This will open a screen here. Your Instagram account should show up here. We're going to say people. These are the things you could choose from. Some good custom audiences to create are a custom audience for your followers. This will be followers all time. And then having a custom audience for people who have engaged, people who have visited, and people who have messaged. I think those are the best custom audiences you can have. And then you can have variations of that are people who've engaged in the last 30, 60, 90, 180, even 365 days. So we're going to do people who have messaged this account in the last 60 days. And then down here, you can name this audience IG, message, and then the days, 60. You can clean it up because it's really hard to type when I do these live. IG message 60, and you would create that audience. And that would show up as an audience that you could then add in here. And then once you create these two, you can always search existing audiences. You can see I have lookalikes of my 60-day messages. I have lookalike of my 90-day engaged. I have lookalike of my IG visits, and a lot more. So you can create a lot of these audiences and use them for different occasions and use cases. We'll cover that when we build out the funnel live, and we'll build the audiences together, but that's just what this field is. Here, you can put in your age. Again, let's say you're targeting, women who are over 35, but ideally your program probably is going to work best only up until maybe they're around 50. That's kind of your client. This will lower your audience size. It's also going to suggest this audience to Facebook. And this is something you have to realize is here, even this is not holding up, right? You're going to put this as your minimum age. I guarantee you still get people below this. But this was supposed to be hard controls. These are treated more as suggestions, more so now than ever. We really need to focus on creating good ads because the targeting will still go outside these, but it's good to put them in. So this will kind of do age and then genders. We could say this was going to just women. We're targeting, we have a female weight loss program. And then lastly here is detailed targeting. These are where we can put in interest groups. There's a strategy to this, but just at a basic level, let's say we're targeting women. We might put in Lululemon because we know that women who are interested in this fitness program are probably also searching Lululemon or ALO, right? And these are ways you can get creative in targeting a singular interest. We don't do this much anymore. There's a way that we use interests as their own ad sets, which we will teach you inside of the full breakdown. But this is just how to navigate the audience plus section and all of the different assets in here. It was a little bit longer, so it deserved its own video. Next, we'll cover placements, and then we'll do ads. Okay, so placements is the last field we need to worry about here inside of your ad set level. So yours might not look like this. It might just say Advantage Plus Placements. Hover over it. There'll be a little edit piece right here. Click edit. It'll open it up to show you the options. They like to hide it because they don't like you taking away their AI stuff because that's what they're trying to test. So watch, when I click on this, my score will go down. And this is not a score of how good your campaign is going to do. This is how good you are at using all the tools they're testing. We don't always want to do that, so don't chase this score. Just follow what we're showing you here. Now, in some cases, Advantage Plus is fine. In other cases, you're going to want to control where they're putting this media. So when you do manual placements, you're going to get this big open field here. I'm going to walk you through all of the different spots that can put your media and how I will adjust a lot of my ads that I just want to go to Reels and Stories. So if you have a video you filmed, you know it's going to be a good story or Reel, you can untick Facebook. I like to just have the majority of mine going to Instagram because that's where all my users are, and they tend to be users who are better for the products I'm selling. And then here, some things to think about. What I'll usually keep on when I'm doing manual placements is I will just have the Instagram feed and the profile feed. I will untick Explore and Explore Home because I find that most people are not scrolling the Explore page on their phone, and if they are, they're usually not clicking on ads. So I find that this tends to be a placement that doesn't do particularly well for me. Also down here inside of Stories, Status, and Reels, I keep all of these on. But when you untick Facebook, it takes it off of Facebook Reels and Facebook Stories. Simply, those just don't get good conversions for me. It's not a good spot for me with my offer to be sending. This doesn't mean it's bad for you. If you have people who fit your demographic and are on Facebook, you can absolutely keep Facebook ticked and add these in. And then lastly here, search results. Again, I don't find that my type of market responds to search results. No one here is searching how to become a fitness coach on Instagram and then seeing my ad pop up 15th in the search results and clicking on it. So I usually unclick this because for me personally and what I'm running, that doesn't work well. If you start doing extremely well organically, and let's say that your account has a ton of momentum, you've got 500,000, 1 million followers. It's an engaged audience. If you put this on search results, then odds are that your account and your ads, because they're linked to that, may show up better. So again, this is one that I untick, but it's a call that you can make for yourself. This usually runs the best if I'm just trying to get these type of story ads going, where I just want my video in 9:16 format showing up, and then one placement for like a more cropped photo if I'm throwing photos into that ad set. That's how I'll kind of do my photos on my feed, and then I'll keep the 9:16s just for the videos. So that's how I do placements. Don't feel like you have to do this. You can also just run Advantage Plus placements. There's not going to be a massive difference in score, but that's just how you use placements as a field. Now let's jump on over to the ad set level, or sorry, the ads level. So with your ad set now complete, what we're going to do is we're either going to go here, here, or click next, and it's going to bring us over to our ad level. At this level, I really like to name the ad specifically to what's going on visually, just so it's easier for me to keep track of stuff. So let's say this is me talking in my office with the keyword 2025 as the CTA. We'll cover what all those words mean in a second. I would say office, maybe office chair, 2025 video. And this tells me, okay, this is me sitting in my office chair with the 2025 CTA, and it's a video. Next, we're going to keep partnership ad off. This is only used if you were like partnered with Nike or some big company and you're running an ad for them. You don't need to worry about this. Ad setup. This is where you can either use an existing post from your Instagram, and you'll see here, I can select a post and it'll pull up a chart of all my recent posts, and I could boost one of these posts using the post ID. I prefer, even if you're doing that, to just go get the same creative and create an ad. Now there's going to be flexible, single image or video, or carousel, depending on what type of ad we're posting. You could post multiples of these. Usually it's going to be single image or video, and then multi-advertiser ads. This will simply allow your product or your ad itself to show up next to other people running similar ads. Really good if you're a very large business and you tend to do better marketing than the rest of your competitors. If you're just starting out, I would just untick this so that you're not putting your ad next to all of your competitors, putting you in this weird pricing features argument with your prospects. Then, as you can see here at the preview, there's nothing here. Ad creative is our next field. Here, you can just click on setup. You can do an image or video ad. For this one, let's do an image ad. Then you will probably see something less filled up than this. These are obviously, I upload stuff all the time, but you can build out your library of ads using this. This is kind of like your media hub. So if you click here, you can upload from your computer. If you click here, you can grab from your Instagram. As you can see, I've got my stories and different stuff. I could create a story and take this and run it as an ad instantaneously. Those perform very well. Or you can just go to your account, and this is all the stuff that you've recently uploaded. So let's just take one of these pictures. We'll use one of Steve's testimonials, and we'll hit next. Now it's going to show you, hey, this is how this shows up in our Square, and this is how it would show up on Reels. What you can do is you could replace this and say, you know what? I want a vertical one for Reels, and I don't have a vertical graphic of this created, so we'll just throw in a different vertical graphic like this. What you would do is just create a graphic for each of these. That way it would show up on these placements like this, and then you'd have a different version here. Then you'd hit next. This is where you put your caption in, right? Message thread to learn more. You don't really need to do too much in the caption here, and your call to action is your send Instagram message. You'd hit next on this. Don't play around with this stuff just yet. These are advanced. These give you, if you have good variants of this, you can definitely use these. But again, you can see it gets a little bit weird, like this isn't even English. And so I don't play around with these too much, but it can help to use some of those if they come out well. They'll just give different variations of this. And so now you can see different placements. This is what your ad's going to look like. Down here, you're going to see more stuff has just opened up. So this is going to show you your placements. Flexible media will deliver your ad selections across placements when it's likely to improve performance. That's okay. Basically means, hey, we're going to show more of the feed stuff if that's working, or more of the real stuff if that's working. Related media, this means if there's other stuff running on your account that is similar to this, it will run it with alongside this ad set as well. You can keep that on or off. We're still testing. I don't know how much this helps or hurts. Pretty new feature. Advantage plus image generation. Those were those images. We don't need to preview those. Don't worry about that too much right now. Your primary text is now showed up. You can add another option if you want to test different captions. Your call to action is send Instagram message. Creative testing, you don't need to worry about that. Messaging template. This is going to be a standalone video that we'll do next because I know a lot of you are going to come back and want to see this one. So I'm going to have its own video. All right, let's make a messaging template and save it as a template that we can come back to. So messaging template, this is what's going to open up when someone clicks to send you a message or get in touch with you. So we're going to create a new one and we're going to hit edit template. And then we're going to save it so that eventually you can just hit use existing and you can have templates set up for different keywords. So you can see I have one set up. I think I was saying 2025 in this example. You could use my 2025 keyword template and it has the greeting and the questions and everything set up. But I'm going to show you how to create one right now. So let's create a new one. We're going to be on create new, start conversations, and then we're going to edit template. Now this is going to open up a page that looks like this. The first thing you're going to put in here is message, and then you're going to put your keyword in caption. So I think we had 2025, so you put 2025 here. If it was a word like shred, I'd have it all in caps. Stick with 2025 to learn more. And then if you want to, you can add a little emoji that's pointing down. Then here you're going to have all these different questions and follow-up messages. What we're going to do is we're going to get rid of all but one question, and we're just going to make that question to our keyword, 2025. No automated responses. What this does is when they click to message you, when they say, hey, I want to send this guy a message, they don't have to remember the keyword or try to type it in themselves. This just pops up. And then they can message 2025 to learn more, and boom, they just click send, goes over. You can even say, click send to learn more, and then they'll just click send. Either one of these works. This will create a messaging template, and then for your follow-up message, I hate these. These just look so spammy. I don't like having AI talking to my people, so we're just going to take that off. Your setter, or you can follow up with them once they do this, or you can automate one message in your CRM. And then we're just going to call this one the new 2025. And then if we hit save, this messaging template is now here. And so as you can see, if I click create new, and then I go back to use existing, it's going to automatically add that one because it was my most recent one, but I can just click on this again. And now I've got this one added on. Then lastly, for tracking, if you have pixels set up, just make sure that you've got your website and your offline events set up. It doesn't even matter the offline events for this because there's not going to be any they track, but having your pixels set up to capture this data will at least give us a little bit of feedback. There'll be a full data set, which is the new word for saying pixel. There will be a full pixel setup training separate. So that's not in this video. This is just how to finish posting these ads. And then once that's done, you can click publish. But before you do that, you're just going to want to go back and check on everything in your ad set level that we already covered. Make sure it's set up the way you want it to. Make sure your campaign is set up the way you want it to. If this is the first time you're launching the campaign. And the last thing you have to do is just click publish, and this will go live. And then I'll walk you through the next video what to look for to make sure that you're actually up and running and that your ads aren't paused or disabled or restricted. All right, so this is going to be a very quick one. When you post your ads, before they're posted, they are in draft. This is green. We like that. What's going to happen is this is going to go into processing, where it processes the upload. Then it's still going to be this hollow green circle. Then it's going to go into review. It's going to review it to make sure that it's in, within the restrictions, the terms of service of Instagram ads. When it's done, it's going to either say learning, which will be green, and it just means it's taking some time to figure out the audience we're sending it to, and once it's through the learning phase, it'll be active, or it'll go right to active, which is a full green dot that says active. If this is restricted, which is red, or removed, which is red, you just want to come in here and turn them off and delete them out. It means something happened where you violated a policy, and again, I'll have a link below to the advertising policy. It changes all the time, so you just want to educate yourself on it, read through it, make sure you're doing what is allowed within your field. Like in my field, I can't come on here and tell you, hey, I'm going to make you $1 million today, guaranteed, right? I can't say those exact words. That's an income claim. That's not allowed. Same thing for you guys. There might be stuff around what you can and cannot say in terms of weight loss or fat loss. So stay updated because it fluctuates. There have been times where it's much more strict. Right now, it's not as strict. You can get away with things like putting a before and after up, which you used to not be able to, and now they've re-allowed. So educate yourself on that and stay top of mind. And if this is yellow, where it might say creative fatigue, that simply means you need more ads in here. You're spending maybe $100 and there's only one ad in here. So all 100 of that dollars going to a tight audience means that too many people are seeing it over and over again. So those are the main things. As long as 99 out of 100 times is going to go green. If it ever goes red, just turn it off and try to see what the reasoning was and make sure you just don't repeat that. You don't want to leave these red for a long time. You want to turn them off and stop using them if they go red, because that'll hurt the health of your account. But majority of the time it's going to go green, active, and you should be all set. If that ever is an issue, just contact your coach right away and ping one of us, let us know. We'll come and review it with you. But that's very rarely ever an issue. The only thing that could possibly have that happen early is when you're first launching your campaign. We're going to cover this in more depth in the campaign module. But when you're first launching like your actual legitimate campaign from the masterclass, if you don't warm up a fresh ad account where you get a little bit of spend for the first couple of days and you just launch a ton of spend, sometimes Instagram flags some of that for review because it's a brand new account putting out a ton of spend and they're worried it might be a bot. So if you warm up your account properly, you should be fine. That's the only time I've seen this affect any of our coaches. For the most part, as long as you're doing ethical ads, you shouldn't run into any kind of red here. But I had to throw this in just so you guys understand, one, what to look for, and two, if something did pop up where it said creative fatigue, now you know it just means that you're spending too much on that one single ad to that tight of a niche. And if it is red in any such way, to just turn it off right away and let one of your coaches know. Hey, really quick, if you've been finding this super helpful and you just want to go faster and have us see if we might be able to help you do this more effectively and efficiently, check the link in the description down below. You can book in a free call with our team to discuss where your business is at and see if having us come alongside you to help run your paid ads for you could be the right thing for you in 2026. So check the link in the description below. Hopefully I'll see you on a call. All right, so now we're going to start going a little bit faster since you've got the structure of how an ads manager is laid out. In this video, we are going to be creating our prospecting campaign. So you can see up here, we've got a day's data from our campaigns running. I'm going to show you exactly how to set these up for yourself. So we're going to come over here. We're going to hit create on campaigns. Get my head out of the way. We're going to be creating an engagement campaign. And again, you can watch this back, slow down the speed, but just build this out with me here. We're going to click continue. We're going to do manual settings. And we're going to do a CBO. I recommend starting $50 a day as your budget, and we'll scale up from there. We're not going to do any A/B testing or anything like this. We're going to hit next. Oh, forgot to name it. We can hit back right here, and we're going to rename it Prospecting CBO. Cool. We already have one, so I'll just put this so I remember to delete this out. All right, we're going to go next. Here, we're going to have our So I name them because we can send them out as packs based on the date they launch. So this is broad pack number 1. Today's date's the 20th. Cool. We'll explain a little bit more about this, but the way we put our ad sets out, so instead of you putting new ads into the same ad set over and over again, we're going to just launch them as packs every 2 weeks. So every 2 weeks, we're going to set a new pack out. And what happens over time is broad pack 1, 4 to 6 weeks from now, it's going to be, getting pushed up. It's not going to be getting as much spend because we're at a CBO level. We'll just go back in. If we have any winners, we'll duplicate them out into the scale campaign, which we'll cover in the next module. And if we're, we got nothing, no spend going on, or just not optimized cost per results, we'll just turn it off, delete it out, and then we'll keep just focusing on the newer ones we have in that have the best performers. So coming down here, we're going to do manual destinations. We're just going to go through Instagram because we want all of our messages going through here because that's what our trigger is going to be on inside of AR. Budget and schedule, this is now at the ad set level. So we can come down to audience controls. We're going to show more options. I like to set my minimum age as high as possible. These are just suggestions, really. I mean, you can try, but it's not going to give you hard data. We covered that earlier. I changed my language to US. That's what I speak in, US English. Now we're going to exclude these custom audiences. When it comes to your cold campaign, there is some nuance to this. So I want you guys to pay attention here. For the first month, we're going to run it without these excluded audiences. Then after a month, we're going to come back in and add these. So you can set a little notification, set a reminder, but it should be easy to see when you launch that your date, you just mark down like 30 days from now. what you're going to do is you're going to come back in here after it's had some time to run. This is only for the first time you ever launch your campaigns. After that, you will always add these in, but just for the first time you launch them, give it 30 days to just run without these exclusions, and then we'll add them in. The only caveat to this is, let's say you've got a massive Instagram following, you're already doing quite well. With organic, I'm talking 100,000 followers plus, then we'd add these exclusions in right away. So I'm going to cover what adding them in looks like. Down here under audience suggestions, you might have these audiences already, but I'm showing you how to create them here as well, so then we can add them in. We are going to create a custom audience. We're going to go to our source and we're going to say, hey, we're going to use our Instagram account as the source for this data, and hit next. Then inside here, you can see you've got your connected account. We're going to create a one for people who have engaged with this account, people who had visited this account, people who have engaged with this ad, and then just our followers. For these three right here, this is going to be a time frame. So I'll show you what that means. You'll have this field. You're going to change this to, I like anywhere from 180 to 365, basically meaning for the last half year or a year. You can go really broad and say, hey, I've been running this program for the last year. I just don't want anyone who's seen my stuff to see these ads because they're trying to send them to cold traffic. So you can save them as 365. And all you do here is you just name this IG, because that's where the data source is. Then we're talking about what we're doing, right? This is engaged. So we're going to put in engaged right here. These are people who engaged with us. And then what's the time frame? This is people who've engaged over the last 365 days. 365. You do that, you would create this audience, and then it will show up inside of here. So when you click here, you can see I've got all of my created audiences. So I have ad interactions, profile visits, messages, engaged. And you can see these are for 30 days. Some of them are for 180. I have my email list for my customers. I have our audience reach. I have messages for 60, 90. I have visits for 90. There are lookalikes in here. So don't get overwhelmed by these because there's a lot of different custom audiences you can create for different reasons. I'll have a list below of the ones you need. All we're going to be creating is going to be 365 for people who have engaged with you, people who have visited you, this will be IG visits, and then people who have engaged with your ad, this would be IG ads. And then, sorry, one more, there is messages as well. People who messaged, IG messages, you're going to be adding that in as well. And the last one will just be IG following. There's no timeline here. We're just going to exclude them as well and add them as IG following. Once you've created those, you're not actually going to have them in here. So the audiences, they might start showing up like this as you create them. Come in here and just exit out of them so that this field is empty and the Advantage Plus audience include these custom audiences field. Come back up here. Now that you have these custom audiences, we're actually going to exclude them because this prospecting campaign is meant to go to new people. So like how trial reels, they only show your reel to non-followers. We're going to create that environment here. So you're going to click in here and you're going to find those longer ones. I think I do 180 for mine. So you'll add ad actions. You will add your engaged. You will add your messages. You will add your visits. I don't have my visits at 180, I guess. I guess I have it for 30. You can have yours for 180 as well. You just add that, and then you would also add your follows. There, boom. So you'd add those all in here. Now we'd be excluding these fields. Now this is all set. We can come down into your Advantage Plus audience. Again, these are just suggestions, but for me, I know realistically like 25 to 35 is kind of what we're looking for our demographic. I go for all genders. Interest targeting, we're not going to touch on this just yet. In later installments, I'll teach you how to use this for some niche campaigns and ad sets, but we don't need to worry about that now. In placements, we're going to keep it on Advantage Plus placements. If you wanted to, you could come in here, go to manual placements. If you know your ads do better in certain places, you could untick Facebook. You could untick the explore pages. And you could untick search results. Now, I've run ads in both these. They get similar levels. I like letting Meta test a little bit, so I'm letting it run the Advantage Plus placements. But if you just wanted these to show up on the feed like this, and then on people's stories and their reels, these would be the ones you would select. But I would recommend, at least right now, just using Advantage Plus. It tends to get a better cost per result. And with this, we're now ready to create this ad set. So we would hit next. And now you're here. Inside of here, you're going to have your ads. I recommend having 6 to 12 ads per ad set. And you want a mix of top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel. We're going to cover what specific ads to add in here in another video. This is just setting up the skeleton. So once you've created this, you'll be able to duplicate this multiple times. And you'll say, hey, I want to do it here, and I'd like to create, the 11 other copies because I'm putting 12 ads in. You hit duplicate. We're not going to do that because we want to make sure this is set up correctly before we duplicate it, so we don't have to go into each one and change everything. So inside of here, if this is on existing post, just switch it on over to create ad, turn off multi-advertiser channels. We don't want to be competing with our other competitors right now. Add creative. This is where you would add in your image or video ad. All you would do is click on this. This will open up your ads. If you don't have them on your computer, you can just click upload and drag and drop them in here, or you can pull them directly from your Instagram videos or even your stories. Pretty cool stuff. And again, you can see up here, you can just go to your Instagram page and grab from here. You can grab from your, I believe this is also your Facebook page. I cross-platform mine. And then you can have separate business assets as well. So this gives you a little place where you can adjust this stuff. But this is where you would add in your ad creatives from. So moving on to messaging and templates. We covered this before. You're just going to go in, you're going to use an existing template. If not, you're going to create new. Let's just create one right now. Let's say our keyword is going to be shredded. We're going to edit. You change this right here to just say, boom, message me shredded to learn more. Then they'll see this pop up. Then we're going to delete question 1, delete question 2. That leaves us now with just one question. We're going to put in all caps our keyword. We're going to turn off follow-up message. We're going to take care of that on the AR side. We're going to save this template, but we're going to rename it so it's easy to find as shredded. Boom. Now when someone comes in, we are going to, when they click that button to send you a DM, it's going to pop up like this. The keyword's already there. They're just going to have to click send. It's going to go over to you. So we can save this. And now when you're inside of here, if I want to use an existing template, I can come in here and I can see shredded as well is in there with some of the ones that I already have, like funnel, maybe the one of the ones you clicked when you guys found us. Once this is all set up, you're ready to go. You can add tracking. This is another one, having your pixel set up. Different training that will be going on. Again, this doesn't even apply to these. There's no offline events that we'll be tracking when it comes to engagement ads. Don't worry about this right now. This is just a field that we will be setting up down the road in the pixel training. Don't worry about it. All right, you now have set up the full skeleton. The last thing you have to do is for how many ads you're going to be launching, you're going to duplicate. And you can do existing campaign and do it, but I just like to say original campaign, number of copies. Let's do 5 copies. Let's say we're only launching 6 ads, and we're going to duplicate. Boom. Now you have it here. As you can see, all these different copies have everything already preset up. So you can come in here and rename them. This is going to be ad 2. This might be ad 3, and so on and so forth. And now you've got your skeleton created, and you can do this every single week just so you have them ready to go. And you can leave them as drafts. You'll see they'll show up here. Here are my ads. They're all in draft. You can see here. And also, if you want to customize these columns, you can absolutely go in here and create custom views for this to make it a little bit easier. So you can see here are my ads. They're all in draft. Here are my ad sets. It's just this broad pack that's now in draft. And here's my campaign. It is also in draft, getting ready to go for my test campaign. That is how you set up the skeleton for your CBO. On the next one, we're going to talk about how you do your retargeting. Okay, so up next, it's time to launch our retargeting campaigns. The reason we do this is because we don't just want to be blasting out ads to the same cold traffic audience. What we want to do is we want to get people into our ecosystem. So once they start engaging with our profile, they find us, they see some of our ads, they interact. We want to start blasting these people with proof, right? They've now started to know who we are and what we do. We don't need to keep feeding them that because that's going to start annoying them. You'll see this with people running ads who aren't doing this. A lot of times they're like, oh, people are seeing my ads 4, 5, 6 times a day. And it's the same ad. And so in these CBOs, we're creating awareness. We want people to know who we are, what we do, build some initial trust. The retargeting is where we start to, see that. And you'll see here in ours, on our prospecting campaign, I'm not trying to get people to opt in here, right? It's not my main goal. My main goal here is to get people aware of who I am so I can retarget them. And so even if they do opt in, it's fantastic. That might not be the time that they create the buying decision. You'll see here, it actually gets better when we start retargeting because these people, now that they know, like, and trust us a little bit more, when we start retargeting them, it actually costs me way less money to get them in, right? It's almost half off. And then obviously the scale campaign, which we'll cover in the next module, that's where you're going to get the best results. You want to optimize for these and use this testing field to find the winners that are going to go into here. So let's build out a retargeting campaign. So same thing, we're going to click create. We're going to do an engagement campaign. We're going to use manual engagement settings. And again, if you want to just duplicate your existing prospecting campaign and then adjust some of these things to save time, you could do that, but I want to just show you from start to finish what this looks like, just so you know how to build it. I'm going to put test on this. All right. I swear, anyone who's tried to to write out stuff live. You know, I'm going to keep it in just so you guys see how much I struggle too. There we go. You guys know the struggle. CBO campaign as well here, because we're going to have different ad sets. The rule for this is I like to put around 10% of my budget, 10 to 20% of my total budget into retargeting, specifically for this 30-day. So the next thing you should also put in here, is 30, because we're going to have a couple different retargeting campaigns, at least 2. And so this first one is just, hey, people who've engaged this past month, we know they're the warmest leads. So we want to hit them with what? The most proof. They already know who we are. We're fresh in their mind. We want to hit them with as much proof as possible. So this is set up. We're going to click next. Here inside of the ad set, we're going to call this again, broad pack retargeting 1, and then I'll put the date just so I know when this is launching. Helps me keep everything very organized. So this will allow us to come back in here and I'll know, oh, this launched on this day. Message destinations, we're going to do manual destinations. I just want them coming from Instagram because that's where our automations are going to be set up on. For your budget, this will be at the campaign level. So if you want to go back, you would adjust that at the campaign level. Inside of audience controls, just some more quick housekeeping. We just want to have the US on, or wherever you're, if you're in Canada, US and Canada. Adjust your minimum age up so that you're not getting in young kids or kids in college. Adjust that for your audience. And then inside of here, what we're going to do is we're not going to exclude any audiences now. We're going to just add in audiences in our suggestions below. And then add language as well. I like to put in US just to further limit this. Once our housekeeping's done, here's where we're going to build out the audiences for this. So our suggested audiences, again, we're going to limit this down to the age bracket that we're shooting for the offer that we have. Again, these are more suggestions, so you will still get people outside of this if they feel like it's a good fit. But putting this on will help a lot. Now that we have this set up, we're not going to do any detailed targeting with interest groups, but we are going to include custom audiences. And here, if you have these set up, this is where you're going to add in your ad interactions for the last 30 days, profile visits, IG messages, and IG engaged audiences for the last 30 days. And I would also add in your following, which I believe I have in here a little further down, my IG followers. So you'd add all these on until they're all listed out in here. And that way, what we're doing here is we're just retargeting people who are very warm, very warm. And what we're going to put in here is going to be content that's all about proof, right? Case studies, testimonials, before and afters, things to just kind of show our work, to allow people to know that, okay, I just told you all this stuff. You saw some of my posts, you visited my page, you have an awareness of who I am. This is, the real result that you're going to get from working with us. And so we're going to put more of those ads in here, and we'll cover that in the ad creative section, but this is just kind of getting the skeleton set up. So this is good to go. We can click next on this after you add those in. And you know what? I'm just going to put these on here so you can see what this looks like, just so there's no confusion. We're just going to add in all the custom audiences that you need. Boom. There we go. And again, in case you are just jumping to this video, again, go back, watch the prospecting campaign one so you know how to create these. But very quickly, if you wanted to create these, you click custom audience, Instagram account. Then you would select from these people who have engaged, people who have visited, people who've engaged with a post or ad. This is what we call ad engagement, and then people who sent a message. And then you would set the duration to be 30 days, and then you would name the audience IG. The interaction that you're targeting, this would be engaged. So this would be IG engaged 30. That's how you would create those. Once you have these all added in, you're good to go. And then lastly, at the ad set level, same thing here. You're going to have 6 to 12 ad creatives in these packs. So we just call this ad 1 as a placeholder. There we go. I fat fingered it. Ad 1 is just a placeholder. And we would get this set up. So you'd have your image or video ad. You'll take off multi-advertising channels. Here's where we will plug in our creatives. We're not going to put anything in there yet. You're going to pick the campaign that you want. Again, same thing here. I want people opting into the same funnel. So if we already set up Shredded, you would just choose this one or any of your pre-existing templates. If you don't know how to create a template, just go back to the CBO campaign. I cover how to create a template in there, as well as in the earlier modules, we walk over how to create a message template. So if you need to create one of those, just go watch that video. Then lastly, tracking. We're going to cover this in future ones, but you can just put your website pixel on. This is not super important for your engagement campaign, so don't overstress this. And this is fantastic. Now that you have this set up, you can come here, you can click duplicate, and you can duplicate this out as many times as you need, just so you have your full ad set ready to go. So if you're going to put 6 ads in, now we have our retargeting set up at the campaign level. We have our first broad pack ready to go. Our date's there. We've got our ad templates ready to be filled in. Once we have those filmed, you would just come in here and you would add your image or video ads for this specific one. We'll cover what those ads are in the next upcoming modules on ad creatives, but this is just the skeleton. So next, we're going to talk about our retargeting 180-day campaign. So creating your retargeting 180 campaign, just a longer campaign for those who didn't end up opting in during the 30 days they were in the retargeting 30 campaign, could not be more simple. So I'll walk you through how to do this. Instead of having to create a whole new campaign, because we already have basically everything we need set up in this one, we're just going to duplicate it. We're going to create one copy. And then inside of this copy, everything at this level is good. We're just going to rename it to be 180. I'm going to put test on it so I remember to delete it. That way we can know which campaign we're in. Campaign budget is going to be solid. I would say start at 50. For any of my campaigns, I like to start at 50 and scale them up as they start getting a good return on investment. Next, we're going to go down to the ad set level. And here at the ad set level, just update this date to be current. And then if you want to keep things a little bit more organized at this level, you can also put RT 180 on this. So hey, this is our first broad pack for our retargeting 180 campaign. This is pack number 1. This is the date. And if it helps you can also add in as much as you'd like to help clean up the look of this. But essentially the goal here for you is just so you have an understanding of which campaign these belong in and what's going on inside the ad set. Everything here is already preset. All we're going to do now is we're going to move everything here except for followers into our excluded audience, because we don't want these ads to be hitting the same audience that we're trying to blast with our proof posts in those first 30 days. We actually want to exclude them so they just primarily get those hyper targeted, very trust building, proof building ads in our retargeting 30 solely. And then if they don't end up purchasing, what we'll do is we will then show them these. So inside of here where it says exclude audience under this, click off it so you can see for a second, underneath audience controls, you're going to add in your 30-day audiences. And the only one you're not going to add in here is the followers. We're going to keep followers now down below because we don't want to exclude that entire audience or you're going to have too much crossover. But here we're going to take off the 30-day audiences. And you're going to simply add in your 180-day audiences. And if let's say you didn't have one like messages, you could just come in here, create the audience, Instagram account. You would change this to be people who message that professional account in the last 180 days. And then you just name this IG messages 180. You get the idea. We don't need to create that because I already have those audiences. And so you would add them in here until you've captured all of your 180-day audiences. Cool. So we've got ad actions, IG engaged, messages, and then I believe it looks like we don't have a profile visits one. So let's just create that live so you can see it. We're going to go here. We're going to go to anyone who visited this profile in the past 180 days. And we're going to call this IG visits 180. And again, this is great because what's going to happen here is as you guys run follower ads in conjunction with this, you're going to be getting a lot of people who will just fall into these buckets. So a lot of the people who followed you recently, right, they had to visit your page, and even if they didn't follow you, let's say they came from a follower ad and they visited and they weren't convinced to follow to kind of get nurtured more, well, they were still in interaction. They still visited your profile in the last 30 days. So they'll go into the 30-day retargeting and get a lot of the proof. And then if that still doesn't swing them to like booking in a call with you, they're going to go in here and now they're going to be in the 180-day audience. Now we're going to adjust the creatives we put in here, but this skeleton is now perfectly set up. So we don't need to change anything else inside of here. Now your retargeting 180 is ready to go. And your campaign manager should start looking like this. You should be having a retargeting 180, a retargeting 30. You'll have your prospecting CPO campaign. Lastly, we're going to walk over how to create the scale campaign. Okay, let's talk about the scale campaign. This is the campaign you're going to set up for all of the winners in your ad set. And we'll discuss what that means in a second. But to create this, we're just going to go to campaigns. We're going to click on create. We're going to do another engagement campaign. We're going to hit continue. We're going to do manual engagement settings. And we're going to open up our campaign level here. And at the top, we're just going to call this a scale. You can put in campaign if you want. Cool. Scale campaign. This is where we scale our winners. What this means is when you're running ads in your CBO, which if we go back to this main page here, if you're running ads here, you're essentially finding new prospects. One of the things we do once we create custom audiences is we create custom audiences of all the people who have previously engaged with your ads, who have messaged you, or even people who have followed you, and then we exclude them. Because we want this to just be testing our ads to new people every single day. We don't want this to be retargeting people. We don't want this to be nurturing existing customers. And we don't want this to be a place where our winners get stuck competing with all the other ads we're testing. So this is your testing environment, and we're going to exclude all of our nurture sequences, all of our retargeting sequences, and we're going to give our winners a place to go where they don't have to compete for spend with other ad creatives. So inside of here, if we go back in here and edit this, this is going to be your scale campaign. You can do CBO or ABO on this. Doesn't matter because we're only going to have one ad set. Speaking of, let's go create it. So for this ad set, we're just going to call this our scaling set. This same thing, we're going to do our manual destinations. I'm going to take off Facebook Messenger because I just want my results coming from Instagram. I want to maximize the number of conversations. We're not going to apply any rule sets here. The budget, because we still have this set up as a CBO, will be at the campaign level. We can also just change that and put that budget here. And then for our audience controls, this is where we're going to add in some stuff. So first we're going to come in here. We're just going to do our, we call it housekeeping. For me, I want to say 23 and up is what I'm aiming for. I want people out of college just for what I'm doing. You can at least have this minimum age set to 18. Include the country. Obviously, most of the United States is going to be where you're looking for people. If you're in Canada, you can do US and Canada. And then exclude existing audiences. Here is where you will add in all of your engaged audiences. Now, you have to create these still, but what I could show you is like, I want to take my email list. This is all the people who've given me their emails. Don't want to retarget them because I already have them on my email list. We're going to hit them with different campaigns for nurture and retargeting. And then we can add in some more here, like a IG engaged. I want to try to get an IG engaged for like a while. Yeah, my last 365 days of engagement. That's probably too long, so I could create an IG engaged for maybe the last 90 days or 180 days that I could throw in here. Same thing, I could do my IG messages from the last 180 days. And then do I have any other like visits? Yeah, IG visits the last 90 days. What I would say for this is you want to create custom audiences. And if you don't know how to do those, just watch the custom audience video in here. You want to create all your custom audiences for people who have engaged with you and your active buyer list, customer list, people who have paid you already. Upload these lists as exclusions because, again, we're just trying to put this out to people who don't know us yet and specifically just our winners. We're going to add in US as our language. And then we should be set here. So this will give us the targeting we want. For Advantage Plus audiences inside of here, again, you could add in custom audiences, but we're going to keep this broad. We're going to keep this very top of funnel. We'll talk about interest targeting later, but this very broad. And again, for me, I might pull down this top end. This is more of just a suggestion for them. And again, if you were targeting men or women specifically, you could adjust that here. For my ads, it's all. Once I have this, I'm just going to go down to placements. I personally like to adjust my placements, but for this one, I'm going to just leave Advantage Plus placements on. If you click edit on this, you'll see it opens up. I'm going to let the algorithm decide where they think I would have my ads best served. Then lastly, here we're going to come down to the ad level. And what we're going to do here is we're actually going to go back into our campaign. Let's go into our prospecting campaign. For me, that's this one called cold traffic. So let me get my head out of the way here so you can see this. So if I click on this, I unclick this, this will only show my ads in here. And I go to all of my ads for this prospecting campaign. You'll see there's a bunch in here. What you're going to do is you're going to sort by amount spent. So this is going to show you, for the ones that are active, your top spenders. I like to go in and I like to find my top spenders because usually top spend means best results. You can see in the last 7 days, we spent 1,000 on this specific ad and we've spent 500 on this specific ad, and they've gotten some of the best cost per results. Now you can see mixed in here, there's some other ones that have good cost per results, but I think they're probably still testing. You know, some of these, they're lucky, right? They get a bunch of conversions early on. I can see that this one with only $24 spend is getting a $6.15. It's our best cost per result. So this might be one we scale up over time, but I'd like to get some more spend on it before I make that decision. So what you would do is you'd come here inside of your CBO campaign, select it. I know it doesn't say CBO. Don't get confused. This is my CBO campaign. This is the one I'm using for the example. This one has our real data in it. You come in here. You go over to ads, it opens up all of your ads, and you just click on this, and this will sort by ascending or descending. So this is lowest amount spent, this is highest amount spent. I'm going to take the ones that are clearly winners for my highest amount spent. See, I don't want to scale this one because, again, not as much spent and not the cost per result I'm shooting for. I want things under $20 and preferably under $15 if I could get it. I'm going to take these and we're going to do a hard duplicate. So you're going to click on this button here. It's going to open this up. We're going to say, hey, I want to do this in an existing campaign, but I don't want it to be cold traffic. I want it to be my scale campaign. We're going to select that, and then I'm going to select my ad set. It's going to be my scaling set, and then I'm going to create this ad inside of there. Show existing reactions, comments, and shares on the new ad. This is important. This ad has been running for a while. This ad has been a winner for us for like a year now. This has hundreds of comments on it, like probably I think thousands of likes now. You want to keep that because not only will this help Facebook find more people in this new ad set for this, but it shows social proof. When people see this new ad, and again, we're just targeting people who've never seen you before, we're excluding all of our engaged audiences. This shows them, hey, this guy really, there's stuff going on here. There's momentum here. There's people who are engaging with this. This is not somebody's first ad. This is not an ad with 6 likes on it. This is a winner. So we're going to duplicate this. You'll see it says duplicating here. And now, boom, we're over here in our scale campaign. Remember how to navigate this. We see our scale campaign. We're in our scaling set, and this is our copy. And so we can rename this to the Office 2025 Classic, and then I'll just put winner next to it so I know that this is my copy that's in my scaling set, that's my winner. And then same thing here. We're going to do single image or video. If you want to, you could do this to promote discoverability. Again, if you're not running a ton of ad spend, I wouldn't do this. But if you want to compete with your competitors and get you to show up next to your competitors, you could throw this on. This ad does well for me, so you know what? I'm going to throw it up against some of my competitors. I'm going to ignore these different things they're trying to get me to do to use their AI because I like the way that I'm set up. And then down here, you could come in, you could adjust some of these. So I'm going to actually untick these. I just want this to say message 2025. I don't want any of this AI caption garbage here. And then inside of my messaging template, I'm going to keep this the same, keep our tracking the same. You can put on offline events as well. That's not going to apply here, but I just take it on anyway. And then I can click publish, and this will launch it. Again, I haven't set my campaign, so I could come up here and I could say, hey, I actually just want to set this at the ad set level. And then I can come in here to the ad set level since we're only going to run ad. And down here, I could adjust my budget and I could make this $50 a day to start. This is how you graduate your ads into a winning campaign, a scale campaign, and you can scale this up. And the reason we do this is we don't want your ads competing with all the other tests. If we go to our cold traffic campaign, it'll be easier to see this if I go out here and I go cold traffic and I go all ads. You can see here, there's $500 a day, but it's getting split between these. And so, you know, I'm getting 1/5 of the spend on my winner here. Now, important point here that I want you guys to focus on. When you're running these ads, do not turn off the ad that's working in your CBO and move it to the scale campaign. You want to keep it running in both spots. You will not get penalized for having it running in both spots. In fact, the only penalty you have is if you take it and turn it off in your campaign where it's winning. That will negatively affect the scale campaign. So leave it on. And if you want to set a limit on how much it spends, that's a bit more advanced. You could look into doing that. I would say for 99.9% of you, just leave it on in here, let it continue to win, but continue to test new batches and new creatives. One other thing to mention is inside of this ad set, you can see here for this ad set for me, I'm running an old model where I had bottom of funnel, middle of funnel, and top of funnel. For you guys, I don't want you to run it that way. I want you to run these as packs where every week to 2 weeks you're launching pack 1, pack 2 like this. Because if you go in here, you'll see in the set that it's in, there's so many ads it's competing against. All right, there it is. Everything you need to know going into 2026 to launch and scale ads for your coaching business. And I'm not gonna lie, this one was a labor of love. So if you did enjoy this, be sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and follow for more videos to help you scale here in 2026. And like I said earlier, if you wanna skip ahead, go faster, and have us work alongside you to set up these campaigns, run your ads, and track your numbers to make sure you're scaling month over month towards that goal of 100K months, first link in the bio down below. You can book a call with our team to see if what we do might be the right fit for you.